We will begin, but let me just get the YouTube on first. We are on, ladies and gentlemen. We are on. Welcome to the live stream, guys. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to be talking about why the United Kingdom will become part of America. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Look, guys, I said this months ago. Like, can you guys remember? And I know I've divided opinion on this, guys. I really have. So I'm going to give you guys 5 scenarios how the United Kingdom will become part of the United States. And then I'm going to tell you what's really going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this ties in the war in Ukraine. This ties in the war in the Middle East. This ties in Antarctica, free energy, all those sorts of things that we all think are conspiracy, but are probably real. So sit back, enjoy yourselves, get yourselves a cup of tea, because that's where we are going today, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are. The United Kingdom is going to become part of the United States. It's an inevitability, guys. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, let me just throw this out there. Let me just throw this out there from a while ago. So, you guys know that I do my own stuff. I don't follow trends. I don't look what other people are talking about. I say things regardless how unpopular they are. If I think something's going to happen, I'll tell you guys. So for those of you guys who've been following me for a while, and I know the video's on YouTube, I know it's on YouTube because I did quite a long video on YouTube. All that stuff is readily available. I've been talking about Britain becoming part of the United States for a long time. And I remember when I first started talking about it, I got a lot of pushback. I don't care. I don't care if I get pushback. I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm telling you guys what I believe is coming. So we are going to be exploring that today, guys. And at the end, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to be talking about how after the United Kingdom becomes part of the United States, how there's going to be a mass exodus to Antarctica, and then hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we can become a space-faring civilization. Because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, is it just me, or would anyone else like to see space exploration actually reach its full potential, rather than humanity spending billions and billions on things that just destroy things, hurt people, finish people's lives? Wouldn't it be better if we were going into the cosmos? But ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm going to be talking about. That's what I will be talking about today. So I guess we're on. So before we start, can you guys do me a real big favor, guys? Can you hit the like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, whatever platform you guys are watching on? Remember, we are triple streaming today, ladies and gentlemen. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, and we are streaming on X also. If you're on YouTube, hit the buttons down below. If you're on TikTok, the buttons are like up here somewhere. And if you guys are on X, I genuinely don't know what those buttons are, but press them anyway. Just press whatever buttons. Do what Raven does, ladies and gentlemen. Do what Raven does when I'm panicking. Press all the buttons in every combination that you can, as fast as you can. Right, guys, I will start with the comments first because there's quite a few comments jumping up. D. Marie Gen X, hello. Jody McCann, hello. DMF Visuals, user 2 and a load of numbers. Hello, user 2, whatever those numbers are. Big C 1969 is saying, does that mean we'd be able to carry guns like in America? Well, you're not actually allowed in America. There are a lot of states that have very strict gun control laws. And if you're saying, would we have a Second Amendment? I would say yes, we'd be part of the Second Amendment. Factivist is saying you don't want that. I really, guys, and you know what? Because Factivist mentioned that. Look, guys, and I would welcome that. As the Raven, who's fiercely patriotic, guys, I would, ladies and gentlemen, I would welcome. Oh, who sent me the hat? Thank you, Loz, for the hat. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you guys to know where I am on this. I'm fiercely patriotic. I believe that Britain, that England is the best country the world has ever seen. We have the best people. We have the best capacity. There has been no technological advancement that's brought civilization into the light that has not been created by somebody from England, from Britain. That said, I welcome the United States coming in, guys. I do. I would welcome becoming part of the United States. I would welcome it with open hands. Sarah May Gen X saying this would cause problems with free healthcare. No, it wouldn't, because Britain would still be Britain. We would be we would have our own laws, our own legislation. Look, guys, thank you, guys. If you're in America, the states of America, they have their own laws, they have their own culture. The states in America are like mini cultures within inside a bigger culture. Do you like George Galloway, Sean? I think he's great. No, I don't really. I don't think he is. So I saw George Galloway talking. I saw George Galloway talking, and he appears to be an expert on many things, but he's not. But he talks with a degree of confidence that makes people think he is. So no, I'm not. Again, I'm not a big understander of George Galloway. When I hear George Galloway, I'm just thinking of the man doing the cat impression. That's literally what I'm seeing right now, guys. When I'm thinking about George Galloway, I'm thinking of the man doing the cat impression. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, right, let me get on with this live stream. So today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are talking about United States takeover of the United Kingdom. I've done videos on it before. I got pushback. But now, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to ask you guys, before we start, in fact, let me jump on. There's quite a lot of comments on YouTube. Hello, everyone on YouTube. Carl Hope is saying, I hope we do become part of the United States. How will that happen? Yeah, so we are going to be talking about this today, ladies and gentlemen. And then Trey is saying, space, you're joking. That's definitely never going to happen. Could see very close ties between Five Eyes countries. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get on with it. Without further ado, the first question I want to ask you guys, and this is think about this question now, guys. Would you welcome or reject the prospect of the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States? I'll let you know where I am on this, guys. I would accept it. I would welcome it, and I would be happy to be part of that. Remember, I've got lots of American friends. I like American culture. I love American barbecues. And people always ask me, just before we get on, like a precursor, people always say to me, they always say, Sean, how come you're so good at barbecue? And I say, I used to have a lot of American friends. I used to roll with Americans, British and Americans in Afghanistan. They used to operate very close together. And we would always go to the American camps to have a barbecue. And it just rubs off on you. So I love American culture, guys. It's like British culture, but without, but a little bit more, but a little bit less apologetic. Anyway, guys, so let's just start, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give you guys 5 potential ways that the United Kingdom could become part of the United States. And then I'm going to tell you, because what I'm going to tell you is is the reality. And I'll be honest with you guys. I asked AI for these 5 potential settings. I was just thinking, because I wanted to do I was thinking, right, I know how I believe that the United Kingdom will become part of the United States. And I was thinking, right, well, what other ways could there be? So I thought I'll ask AI. And it gave me such a comprehensive breakdown. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to use these. I'm going to use these as part of my little explanation tonight. So let's set the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Let's set the stage. So the world's in chaos right now. The world is absolutely chaos right now. There are several scenarios, and I'm going to give you guys 5 plausible scenarios, and then at the end I'm going to tell you how I personally think it's going to happen. So I'm going to give you 5 plausible scenarios where the United Kingdom might choose to become a state, or potentially states whereby you'd have England as a state, or maybe England broken up into 2 states, Scotland as a state, Ireland as a state. Northern Ireland as a state, Ireland as a state, because when I'm talking about this, I am bringing Ireland into this as well, and then Wales, obviously, as a state. So Excuse me. Imagine if you will, ladies and gentlemen, okay, imagine if you will, the UK is in a tough spot. We're in a rough spot financially, demographically, militarily. Things have gone wrong in the United Kingdom. The economy is tanking, and someone floats. Maybe it's Nigel Farage. And I do think, guys, that this could, it was eerily accurate, and this was something I'd not thought of. Or maybe this is going to be a little bit of each one, but let's just say you guys know the connection between Nigel Farage and Donald Trump. Let's just say Nigel Farage starts floating the idea about a referendum that the United Kingdom should join the United States as a state or as states. It would be a circus. It would, guys. It would be a circus. It would. You'd have all your top tier politicians. You'd have Angela Rayner saying that she's got some fancy trousers, and you'd have David Lammy's argument saying that Velcro's cheaper in the United Kingdom, and then you'd have Keir Starmer not really making any sense. You'd have Jess Phillips saying some vile stuff. So it would be a circus at first, ladies and gentlemen. But here's the thing. Among the public, I don't think it would be that much of a circus at all. And you've got to understand the way people are thinking right now. And when I said this over a year ago, when I started talking about the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States, people were scoffing at me. And that's fine, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are scoffing at me. That's fine. Time is a great vindicator. So all the arguments would come out. Somebody's just mentioned about the NHS, about the pound, about everything would come out about this, guys. And look, before we get further into the NHS is broken, all right? It's not working. It doesn't work. National Health Service, it's not fit for purpose. It's not, guys. It needs renovating. And look, guys, I've been all around the world. I have. I've been around, ladies and gentlemen. And I know Karen has as well. I've been around. And every country I go to, and I've done a lot of medical assessments. I've done a lot of medical assessments in a lot of different countries. Every country I go to, they say they want to have the US model. They want to have the US standards. So us here in the United Kingdom, we're talking about medical, we're talking about healthcare. Like, we're being gaslit, guys. Here in the United Kingdom, we are being gaslit to think that the NHS is fantastic when it's not. It's not. It's failing, guys. It's broken. It doesn't work. Anyway. So that would be the first scenario, ladies and gentlemen. That would be the first scenario. The first scenario is somebody like Nigel Farage. Comes out. The economy's broken. Nothing's going well. So the first scenario would be somebody like Nigel Farage floats the idea. But you know what? Why don't we become part of the United States? It would be fantastic. And then it's put to a referendum. So the first question I've got you now, the second question actually for you guys. So the second question, ladies and gentlemen, is if you're in the United Kingdom, would you, in fact, can I do a poll? Give me a second, guys, because I want to do a poll. I've never done a poll before. Guys. I'm doing a poll right now. And I'll give you the outcome at the end. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. All right. You guys know I do things off the cuff. I'm trying to click the poll button. I clicked it, then unclicked it. Right. United Voice Rising is saying, Raven, I'm sorry you lost me on this idea. Don't worry about it, United Voice Rising. When you see it, you will see it and you'll say, yeah, Sean was right. Right, for some reason, I can't do a poll. I want to do a poll. right? It's not letting me do a poll. Anyway, guys, so the first question I've got for everyone here is, if there was a vote on, would you vote to be part of the United States, or would you vote not to be part of the United States? And I'm going to be honest, guys, I would vote for. I would vote for being part of the United States. Now, my main reasoning for this would be, and I've said this so many times, my main reasoning to vote to become part of the United States is, here in the United Kingdom, we do not have any legal method, any legal means to oppose the government. We don't. Regardless what you think, we don't. If the Labour Party passed a law, and that was passed, and everybody passed it and stamped it, and it became law, that everybody had to give their firstborn child to the government, and they threw that somewhere, that him or her or them, then that would be the law, and the police would enforce that. We have no legal ways, we have no legal means of resisting a tyrannical government in the United Kingdom. That's the reality, guys. That is the reality. Now, if you're in the United States, and I don't know what time it is in the United States, I'm going to assume that these comments will come later on YouTube. If you're in the United States, how would you feel about the United Kingdom becoming a 51st or 52nd state? Would you welcome Brits into your country, or would you reject them? You know, or would you worry about Britain and their strict gun laws and the Second Amendment? You know, I don't know how you would feel about this, and you know, I really don't. Now, for the and this is a question I don't know the answer to, guys, okay? What would happen to the NHS? Again, we've kind of encompassed that. What would happen to the monarchy? What would happen to the monarchy? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But what I do know without 100%, guys, we are not living in normal times. Guys, we're not living in normal times. Right now, we are living through historical times. Every day there's historic things that are happening. It's unbelievable. So right, we'll get on to the next bit, guys. We'll get on to the next bit. So we'll jump. Let me try and see if I can do a poll. Let me try this again. Give me a second, guys, because I really want to do a poll. Right, I'm going to leave that a second. Right, so let's continue. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, should I get the questions? I'll come and get some comments, actually. Sean McKay is saying the US are creeping into this dump to bring it into a better place. What a fantastic comment. I think you're right as well. I think you're right. But look, guys, let's be quite clear. We've got to understand this is all part of subversion. This is all part of ideological subversion. This is always the plan. This was always the direction. This was always going to happen. You're going to get this Anglosphere. You're going to get the United States in control of the United States, 50 states of America, Canada, Greenland, the Panama Canal, the United Kingdom, and Antarctica, and of course there'll be little places like Israel, Australia is not little, Australia, Japan, New Zealand. That's all going to be. And I don't know about India, guys. I don't know about India. I'm gonna not talk about India because I don't really understand where they're gonna fall at the moment. But yeah, Sean McKay is saying there. I totally agree with what Sean McKay is saying. James is saying the UK is still under European. In fact, let me pin this. James is on TikTok is saying the UK is still under European law. We're all run by socialist communists. Yeah. Do you know what? You know, if we become part of the United States, all that goes out the window. We're done. We're finished. We're over. We're not going back. Do not collect $200. Go directly to the United States. Tina is saying Trump won't be in power long enough for the UK to become an American state. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not counting anything out right now. We are living in historical times. We are going through historical times. Be under no illusion how important these times are right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're living in historical times. I'm not counting anything out. I am not counting out Trump 2028. I'm really not. I am really not. Lavina is saying, Lavinia, is saying, does that mean Israel will really rule the UK as it runs America? Look, guys, I don't know. Maybe Lavinia's right. The enemy of your enemy is your friend. Look, guys, there's mass amounts of subversion going on. There's mass amounts of smoke and mirrors. There's switch and bait. There's all sorts of psychological warfare that is hitting us at the moment. I understand all this that's happening, so don't think I don't. What I'm saying in the crux of this live stream is, warning, ladies and gentlemen, the United Kingdom will become part of the United States. Then there will be a mass exodus of Western civilization to Antarctica. That's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I wanted to do this as a standalone live stream. So when people in the future, when it happens, people can look back at this. So people can look back at this and say, yeah, do you know what? Do you know what? Shaw was right about that. Right, guys, listen, let me continue. So scenario 2, Chewbacca. Leanne Sala, hello, Leanne Sala. How are you? I hope Leanne Sala's great. So Leanne Sala is saying, not a chance. Well, listen, Leanne, I hope you wait until the end of this live stream, because at the end of this live stream, I'm going to tell you guys how the war in Ukraine is going to pan out, how we are going to be broken as a country, how the United States are going to take over, how we are going to have an Anglosphere run by the United States, and then how we are going to have an Oceania operated by China, and then ultimately that is going to lead to a one world government. And then hopefully we can go into space, guys, because that's all I really want. All I really want is the 10-year-old Raven with his little space rocket. I just want to see humanity go into space, put a colony on the moon, put a colony on Mars, solar panels around the sun, and let's just be a spacefaring nation. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have to deal with the pumpkins. Right, okay, so 2. So we talked about the first one. We talked about the first scenario, ladies and gentlemen. Picture the United Kingdom, guys, okay? The economy is in the gutter. The pound is worthless. Now, look, guys, the pound is getting more worthlesser by the day. Nobody can deny that. You can't. Anybody who thinks I'm wrong there, saying that the pound isn't tanking, you're deluded, because the pound is tanking. So picture the economy, guys, right? The pound's in the gutter. Everything's going wrong. Trade deals are not working. GDP is refusing to go up. It's just not happening. The government negotiates to join the US to tap into the United States 21 trillion economy. And I would speculate by the time this happens, the US economy will be worth a lot more. Now, for the United States are looking at London's financial sector, the North Sea oil, and remember, nobody can look, guys. So when people say, "Oh, but Sean, why would the Americans want to have the British on board?" "Oh, Sean, why would the Americans want?" Stop. Apply your safety catch and look in. Britain owns Antarctica. Antarctica has the biggest oil reserves in the world. The known oil reserves in Antarctica, this is just the known oil reserves from the first survey. So the known oil reserves in Antarctica, sit down because you might want to get yourself a stiff drink. So the known oil reserves in British Antarctic territory are double the Saudi Arabians. So whoever controls Antarctica, straight off the bat, become twice as rich as Saudi Arabia. Do you really think that DJT doesn't want that? Do you really think that? Are we going down that road? Are we going down the road where we're saying that the Americans don't want the oil and vast resources of Antarctica? But look, guys, I'm going to save Antarctica for the end because I am going to talk about Antarctica at the end. So I don't want to steal my own thunder. So that's the second option, guys, all right? Economic bailout. Look at the government right now, guys. They're destroying our economy, guys. They are absolutely destroying the economy. The economy's gone. It's over. Taxes, taxes, taxes. Raising fuel, raising food prices. It's gone. It's over. We're not even a serious country anymore. And that's now. That is now, guys, okay? So next question to you beautiful lot that are watching. I will come on to, guys, I'm going to jump onto the YouTube comments in a sec because I can see the YouTube comments are going crazy. I will jump onto those YouTube in a sec. First question. Another question. I can't remember how many questions I've asked. So, okay, so people in the United Kingdom. And this is a serious question because it really is, guys, right? Would you swap the pound for the dollar? Or is the idea of Americanizing your wallet just a step too far? I'll let you know where I am, guys. I would like, for me, I mean, I've got my wallet's in the house. I've still got like, I've got like a couple $100 in my wallet as it's in my jacket. So I use dollars when I think about finances, when I think about money. I always think about the conversion rate between dollars and euros and hryvnia, which is the Ukrainian currency. So I would be happy to change that as personally. I don't know, like, I mean, you may be in retail, you may be in international trade. I don't know what you guys would think. For me, I wouldn't make any difference to me. I'd be paying like, I don't know, maybe $1 for a can of Coke instead of £1, which would be cheaper. And people in the United States, now I know with the time difference, the people in the United States, I may get these comments later on YouTube. So for the people in the United States, how would you see the United Kingdom's financial sector? I'm talking about the City of London now, where all the banking, where literally all the trade goes through. Would that be a win for America? Or does the love of free healthcare spark like a congressional meltdown? Are we all thinking like, oh, free healthcare, you guys have got to pay for that? Where do we go with that? Like, where do the Americans go on that? What are the Americans thinking? And for everyone, guys, okay? Take London out of, and this is going to be a difficult question, guys, all right? Take London and the financial sector out of the question, so we can't talk about that. What are British economic strengths? I'm struggling to think of one, guys. I really am. What does Britain produce? Like, what does Britain produce? You know, what does Britain produce? What do we produce that's like an economic asset, I guess? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the next scenario. Scenario 3, security. And again, listen, guys, when I get after scenario 5, I'm going to let you guys know how I believe this is going to work through, all right? But I'm going to give you guys scenario 5. Where are we? Okay, so we've got this ANCUS, which is America, Australia, UK, United States, which is already part of, well, like I said, you know, UK, United States, Australia, sharing military technology, submarines, nuclear weapons, nuclear submarines as well. You know, so now imagine a global crisis. And again, I'm kind of stealing my own thunder. You know when you're doing a presentation, right? You know when you're doing a presentation, and like the two ways you look at this, you're either sat down watching the guy who's before you and he starts talking about the shit you're going to talk about, and you're like, mate, you're stealing my thunder. Or when you're doing a presentation and you're like, and you start encroaching into another one of the lecturer's lectures, and he's looking at you thinking, mate, you're giving the jokes and the little bits I'm going to give as your own. And he looks at you. So I am stealing my own thunder here, but guys, but let's continue because I think it's okay to steal my own thunder. Now, imagine global crisis. It's not hard to imagine, is it, guys? Tell me how hard a global crisis is to imagine. I mean, let's face it, guys, we're in one. Global crisis, all right? Tensions in the Pacific, tensions in Europe, tensions in the Middle East, tensions all over the place, all right? Tensions for tensions. The United Kingdom will be determined to stay safe. Joining the United States as a state gives the United Kingdom access, protection to the world's biggest military. It gives the United Kingdom access to the world's biggest air force and the world's second biggest air force. Now, double that up with British Special Forces, British technology. You know, you then have a force to be absolutely reckoned with. Nobody's going to mess with those guys. So that's my second, my third scenario, guys, a security union. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. And I will come on to what I think is going to happen. It's kind of a, I'll come on to that afterwards. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys who be sat there on YouTube, I'm going to come over to the YouTube, guys, okay? I'm going to come over to YouTube right now because I know there've been lots of comments on YouTube, okay? So, Air Hammond is saying, traditionally, England exports wool and piracy. Yeah, we was talking about what does England export. Lisa Jane is saying, turn on the TV and it's all about global crisis. Yeah, it's not difficult to imagine. It's not difficult to imagine global crisis as we are now, ladies and gentlemen, in 2025. Earlier on today, I did a video about Baba Wenger or Baba Yager's predictions. Eerily accurate, ladies and gentlemen, in 2025. The four puppeteers is saying, I think we're already American with all the stupid words kids are coming out with. Our English language is becoming extinct. Yeah, I mean, the girls do that as well. You know, when the girls are like filming themselves, I don't know if you've got kids. I'm assuming some of you have. I hope some of you have got kids. But you know when kids are doing like little videos and messing, what's that thing? There's a thing. Is it CapCut? I think it's CapCut or HatCut or something. They give you little videos. Like when the girls do those videos, they put on these American accents. I don't know why, but they put on these American accents. So I could, you know what? I could agree with the four puppeteers that we've already been Americanized. Lauren is saying, oh, hang on. So Lauren is saying 1 out of 57 Muslim countries have nuclear weapons. That's Pakistan. If the Muslims fully invade the United Kingdom, then they would have access to our nuclear weapons and would use them against the USA. The USA won't want that. Yes, obviously Lauren's talking about Pakistan there, which is a predominantly Muslim country. Right. Yes, I agree, Lauren. Yeah, you know what, Lauren? I agree. That could be another option, couldn't it? You know, the United States see the Muslim takeover of the United Kingdom. They think, you know what? We are not letting Muslims have access to American nuclear weapons. We're going to move in there and we're going to swizzle them. Right, guys, in fact, Silly Gallardi is saying, you're so funny when people think Israel, Jews control the world. We are only 2% of the world. We must be the chosen people then. So I think that was in response to one of the questions that were saying that Israel is in control of the United States. Air Hammond over on YouTube is saying, where do we get icebreakers from to reach Antarctica? Air Hammond, I hope you're going to stay on till the end of this live stream because that question is very relevant and I'm going to explain to you why that question is so relevant and how Britain owns Antarctica. And finally, not finally, ladies and gentlemen, finally for this little thread, TRE is saying, what is the event that starts the ball rolling in this direction and what would make UK citizens want to accept this? Listen, TRE, you only have to look at the chat. Lots of people are agreeing with what I'm saying already. Lots of people are disagreeing, but I would say the fact that we are talking about it. And guys, look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aunts and uncles, dogs and cats, don't I give you the best information before anyone else gives it you? I've been talking about Britain becoming part of the United States for over a year now. For over a year. So look, guys, and I can remember I was getting ridiculed. I was getting ridiculed at it initially. But does it feel now? Do you? A lot of people are talking about it now. A lot of other people are talking about it. So listen, guys, it's gonna happen regardless. I told you it was gonna happen a year ago. I'm telling you now that we're gonna have a mass exodus of Western culture to Antarctica. That's the reality, guys. I don't care what people think. That's what's happening. That's what's coming. That's what's going to happen. We are going to have, eventually, we are going to have the mass exodus to Antarctica. In the meantime, we're going to have this new Anglosphere. It's going to consist of the United States, Canada, Greenland, Ireland, what we know now as Great Britain. I would say there would be Israel. I would say there would be Australia, Japan, Taiwan, New Zealand. I think that is where we are, guys. I think that is where we are. And that would be the Anglosphere. That would be, that would be the Anglosphere, guys. All those countries. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine the powerhouse that would be? Can you imagine the absolute powerhouse that would be? And look, ladies and gentlemen, I want to be quite clear. I would personally, I would welcome that. Taking everything on board, guys. I would welcome it. I would. I really would, guys. I'd welcome it. And you know what? I wouldn't just welcome it. I would encourage it. Right. Let's continue, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue. So we've talked. So that was number 3. Number 4. Do we want to have some questions? Let's not go questions, guys. I'm just conscious of the time. Let's just have number 4, guys. Fourth scenario. All right. A little bit of a curveball, but you guys have heard Donald Trump talking about whether the United States could join part of the Commonwealth. You have, haven't you? I know you have, because it was all over the mainstream media. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Sean, look, you said this ages ago. And I said, yes, I was talking about it. So Donald Trump's been floating the idea about the United States becoming part of the Commonwealth. Alas, let's continue. So the UK spotting a chance to stay a global player, because we're kind of not anymore, guys, flips it and joins the United States as a state. I mean, we've got shared language, we've got shared root, we've got shared history, we've got shared culture. When you think about that stuff, guys, it makes sense. It really does make sense to join the United States when you think about all those things. Like, has anyone ever been to a barbecue with Americans? It's great. It's fantastic. It is. And as well, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody's ever been to one of my barbecues, that is also fantastic. Anyway, so the royals can stick around for selfies or whatever. I'm not a fan anymore of I'm not a fan of the royal family after the king took over, but that's like I guess that's the 4th scenario, okay? Kind of like a Commonwealth to state pivot. Listen, guys, it came out in the mainstream media that Donald Trump was floating the idea about the United States becoming part of the Commonwealth. I did a video on YouTube about it. You had, what's his name? What's his name? He does that InfoWars. Alex Jones. So you had Alex Jones coming out and he's going, Donald Trump's just the globalists. They want to join the United Kingdom. And we're going to smash the globalists. It's the globalists. Oh, it's the United States. I was like, no, Alex. In fact, I actually commented on one of his posts. I said, no, Alex. This is the first step of the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States. The smaller always goes to the bigger, guys. That's the way it works. So, couple of questions for everyone. So a few questions to ask the audience. So if you're in the United Kingdom, could you see if you're in the United Kingdom, guys, could you see joining the United States as a boost to British global clout, or would losing the Commonwealth ethos, vibe, and royal pomp feel like you were being sold out? Now, this is kind of a loaded question because I know the answer. So I'll ask it again, guys, okay? I'll ask it again, all right? Do you feel joining the United States, not being part of the Commonwealth, and kind of losing the pageantry of the royal family, do you think that would have more positive or more negative? And it's kind of a loaded question because I know the direction of travel. And if you're in the United States, would you embrace the United Kingdom? Would you embrace the United Kingdom coming over? Would you embrace our pomp and pageantry, our political system that gets nothing done? Would you embrace our culture of, I don't even know what British culture is anymore, guys, because we've got listen, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about British culture, I'm just going to say this, and it's fact, right? This is fact. Mohammed is the most popular boy's name in the United Kingdom. So children that are being born in the United Kingdom right now will, children that are being born in the United Kingdom right now, Mohammed, of all the children that are born, the most popular boy's name is Mohammed. So we want to talk about British culture. I would say it's going downhill, guys. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I want to be quite clear about this. Personally, and I don't know about you guys, personally, I would welcome becoming part of the United States. I really would. Now, the main reason for me, for La Raven, is we haven't in the United Kingdom, we do not have a system where we can oppose our government. Our government, they can do what they want. They can swizzle to us. They can say, yeah, I understand your feelings and I understand your concerns. I'm gonna just swizzle them all to the side. I'm gonna do what I want. As a citizen of the United Kingdom, we have no legal way. We have no legal way to oppose that, guys. We don't. We have nothing, and that is the main reason why I would welcome the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States. That's the main reason. The United States have the Second Amendment. But let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, if it was legal, I would be the guy who lives in the woods. I would live in the woods with far too many of those long things that have stuff come out at the end that are shiny. I'd be getting shouted at all the time for spending unnecessary money on little bits that I shouldn't be buying. I'd be like, oh yeah, but look at that new barrel. Look how shiny it is. Look at the rifling on it. I can get more accurate stuff out of that. I would, guys. I'd be the guy who lives in the woods with far too many of those things. And a question for everyone, guys, all right? What's one shared value? Like what? And I can mention many. I can mention many of these guys, okay? What is one shared value that the United States and the United Kingdom have? What are those shared values that the UK and the US have? I can mention many. Look, guys, I've got a lot of American friends. I've done a lot of work with Americans. I like American culture. I like, so I maybe I'm a little bit biased giving this. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump over and get some comments. John. Oh, in fact, hang on. Tracy McKibben, I'll come on to you next, John, is saying, I was always a royalist, but from Diana was when Diana died, I'm not going to repeat what she's exactly saying. I don't like Charles and Camilla, not my king. So Tracy, this just leads into what I was saying earlier, about the pomp and pageantry of the royal family. And what I will say is, there's a lot of these conspiracy theories, rolling around about Diana. Let's not forget Dodi Al-Fayed. What's his name? Is it the Fayads, guys? Okay, they were funding really bad people, and there is. I'm not going to go down it, guys. I'm not going to go down it because I'm not going to go down that road, guys. I'm not going to go down that road. There's lots of videos talking about the Fayads. They weren't good people. That's all I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm going to say. John is saying, John is saying, to be honest, I would say, as regards to the royal family, when the Queen died, so did the royal family. Do you know what, John? I couldn't agree more. Something changed in the United Kingdom. When the Queen went, there was a change. There was an epoch change. There was a change of epoch. And the time that she went, it was just at the right time. Look, I wish she was still here. It was just at the right time. So many people say the same. Okay, so as John's saying, sorry, I've got his comment up on YouTube. John is saying, to be honest, I would say, as regards to the royal family, when the Queen died, so did the royal family. I love American culture. I got brought up on $76 million Man. Bring it on. Do you know what, John? I'm exactly the same. You know, I'd welcome I welcome US culture, as long as we don't have to drive. As long as we don't have to drive on the wrong side of the road, guys. All right. As long as we don't have to drive on the wrong side of the road, I'm all for that. If they make us drive on the other side of the road, we may have big problems. But as far as it goes right now, I'm all for welcoming culture, guys. All right. And welcoming the United States takeover. And look, guys, I do think this is the bigger picture of the United States taking control of America, Greenland, Canada, the United Kingdom, Antarctica, Israel, Australia, Japan, Taiwan, and New Zealand. I think that is going to be the new axis of power. And listen, guys, I'll be quite clear. I'm open to that. I welcome that. I don't have a problem with any of those countries. From now, it's saying England and a cross of St. George, the cross, the flag that terrifies people. Tilly Gallardi is saying, I think she's commenting to someone else. Is she commenting to someone called Diesel? I don't know. I think Tilly Gallardi is commenting to somebody called Diesel. And saying, only joking. I also think if you Brits will only start drinking iced tea. Yeah, so just with the iced tea, one of my American friends, he's like, hey, Sean, you guys are drinking, like, tell me about this tea, man. What the hell is it with this tea? I said, well, JR, it's like, you know, you have a tea bag and you have, like, sugar and milk. And he's going, yeah, but Sean, I don't understand the milk, bro. Like, why are you guys putting milk in that shit? I'm like, well, it's just what you do. It's a little bit bitter otherwise. He's like, I don't know, man. I mean, I drink lemon iced tea, but I don't really understand where you're going with that, man. So, like, anyway. So, yeah, I do understand some Americans don't understand putting I do understand that some Americans don't understand putting milk in the tea, but let's not use that as a cultural divide. I mean, if that's the only cultural divide look, like, imagine the cultural divide that we have in the United Kingdom right now. Can you imagine how amazing it would be if the only cultural divide we had in the United Kingdom was whether you put milk in your tea or not? I would welcome that. Wouldn't that be a fantastic country where the only divide, well, I guess it depends how ferocious it got, but where the only divide was whether you put milk in your tea or not? It'd be amazing. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue. I may need to go to the toilet real quick. I probably shouldn't have drank as much as I did. Anyway, right, so the next scenario would be the final scenario, guys. Okay, a worn out political chaos, fading global influence, an absolute broken Britain. The United Kingdom votes to become part of the United States. They keep the NHS. We don't have strict gun laws. We have shared values, shared democracy. We're still part of NATO. We all have Netflix. We all watch the same Netflix, don't we, guys? We all watch the same Netflix. British public would be refusing to let their nation fade. They would, and everything will continue. It would just be a pure political decision. So that's the next scenario, guys. Okay, that's the next scenario. Now, a quick question, guys. I really need to go to the toilet. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for this. Can you guys wait right there Can you guys wait right there? Because I need to literally run out to the toilet. I'll be back in like less than a minute. Hey, wait there, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit those buttons that help this channel grow, guys. I don't do this enough. Share the live. Share it on your socials. I'm going for a wee. I'll see you in 3. Less than 3. I'll be like 1. I'm back. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I know you didn't go far because I know you were waiting for my explanation. You waited. Oh, Tracy. So Tracy on TikTok is saying, will Ireland be included? Yes, absolutely. Sorry, Tracy. I do apologize. I've said this quite a few times. Yes, Ireland will be included. So Ireland will be part of this. Ireland will become part of the United States as well. 2 little islands in the north, in the northeast, in the northern Atlantic. They will become part of the United States. Grumbling Grunts. So just real quick, Grumbling Grunts is saying, didn't wash your hands. I'm going to come back at you and say, I didn't urinate on my hands. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. If Grumbling Grunts urinates on his hands, that's on him. Right, guys. So that I'll give you that one again. Okay. So we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about the United States, or well, you know what? No, the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States. Okay. I believe that is going to happen. I believe it's coming. I don't believe it's not going to happen. I believe it's happening. You can see this in real time. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to ask a couple more questions. I'm going to have a couple more questions, and then I'm going to tell you how I believe this is going to happen. So we've talked about a few scenarios. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to give you guys my scenario on how Raven believes the United Kingdom will become part of the United States. Sounded crazy, didn't it? You know, when I started talking about this over a year ago, people were like, oh, Sean, that's never going to happen. Well, first of all, you don't understand subversion. You don't understand ideological subversion. You don't understand how the militaries work. For example, did you guys know at the end of the Second World War, the French asked to be part of the United Kingdom? Did you know that? Did you know that? That's a fact, guys. Check it out. So a couple of questions for you guys, right? If you're in the United Kingdom, could you stomach swapping the Union flag and the Cross of St. George for stars and stripes? Could you do that, guys? Could you do it? Could we deal with that? Could we swap that? And let me just caveat, guys, all right? I don't think that would happen. You know, states in the United States, they have their own flag, they have their own culture, they have their own identity. And this is what people forget. You know, the different states in America, they still have their own identity. They're just part of that bigger federal government. So if you're listening in the United States, I understand what time it is in the United States, so I might get these comments later on YouTube. So if you're listening in the United States, could you imagine Premier League matches on your on terrestrial TV? Could you imagine that being broadcast? Could you imagine a Formula One being broadcast as opposed to the Super Bowl? And I know I'm going to get a lot of people angry there. Could you imagine the Super Bowl being cancelled for a Premier League match or for a Grand Prix? Could you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? Where would we go with that? Would you be okay with the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States? Would you accept different accents, a dry sense of humor, or would there be a culture war? And look, guys, I will say working with lots of Americans, lots of times, and having a lot of respect for Americans, there's always a little bit of culture war, but it's always endearing, and that's the difference. Because what we have in the UK is not endearing at all, guys. It's crazy. It really is crazy. Right, ladies and gentlemen. So it's the time that everybody's waiting for. I've given you guys 5 potential scenarios where the United Kingdom, how the United Kingdom could become part of the United States. I'm going to give you Ravens breakdown now. I'm going to give you guys the breakdown on. Oh, hang on. Hang on, guys. Oh, hang on. So just real quick. From now on YouTube is saying the England emoji is being censored. So I look, I don't know if that, I don't doubt it, but from now over on you guys, if you're on TikTok, can you share the cross of St. George? Are we allowed to? Do we have a cross of St. George as an emoji? Can we all share it? I don't know. Look, guys, just real quick. From now on YouTube is saying the England emoji is censored on YouTube. I don't doubt him, but is it censored on TikTok as well? And Silly Gallardi is saying, well, after all this flag was created by a Brit, it does seem like, but we can, right, okay. So right, guys, I'm just commenting here real quick on the chat. So from now it's saying you can still share a Palestinian. Wow, that's disgusting. That's wound me up, guys. That's wound me up. That's up. So look, guys, on YouTube, you can share a Palestinian flag. The Palestinian flag is fine, but the cross of St. George has been censored. So here's the thing, guys, all right? Nobody's afraid of the Palestinian. I can't talk about this while I'm on TikTok, guys. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm gonna do is, because of the censorship, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys my final how I think the United Kingdom will be part of the United States. I'm then gonna jump over to YouTube. I'm gonna talk about why there is this war on the English, why there is this war on the cross of St. George, what it symbolizes, why the flags are allowed to be flown, and why people are terrified of the English uniting. Anyway, so right, I don't need to look at anything. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so why this is my own scenario now, guys. Why and how the United Kingdom will become part of the United States. So this is bringing in a lot of the tropes I've spoke about on this channel. I'm going to try and bring it down real quick because I'm just conscious that we're at an hour. So the war in Ukraine is going to develop into a global conflict of an industrial scale. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is my own opinion, speculation, and analysis for entertainment purposes only. But when it happens, please look back at this and just remember. And I've said this, and I've done plenty of live streams, and I've talked about how right now, as we are, as Europe is without the United States, it's not a W. It's not a W for NATO without the United States in Europe, in Ukraine. It's not, guys. Only today, there was mainstream media talking about how the Russians have managed to hit central Ukraine. This is the first time now. So the fighting has been contained predominantly in the east of Ukraine. Now Russian soldiers have actually had boots on the ground in central Ukraine. So what you can see is the Russians pushing forward. That's the reality. Now, if the front line breaks, if it fails, if it falters, the Russians are going to make real quick ground through Europe. And again, look, guys, I don't want to get into it on a large scale, but I've said many videos, go back, look through. I don't see a W for Europe without America. So in that context, Britain would support Ukraine 100%. They would support Ukraine. Britain are fantastic. We're a great country. We're a powerful country. We don't have the numbers. We have the capacity. We don't have the numbers. In that scenario, we would be wiped out. We'd be wiped out financially, demographically. We'd have nothing left because we would give everything to try and win. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we should avoid war at all costs. But you know what? If you're in a war, you should win that war at all costs as well. So in this scenario, the Russians go through Ukraine, through Poland, make their way to France. They're at the French. They're in Calais. You can imagine the migration at that point. They're in Calais. You know, the United Kingdom is just an absolute cluster. We're a cluster at that point, guys. We're in a crisis. We're overrun. We've got crime. We've got this. We've got that. Nobody's working. There's no industry. There's no finances. We are a broken country at that point. Do you know what would be real good at that point? If big old DJT came in and said, hey guys, we got you. We're going to come in. We're going to bring the military over. We're going to provide law and order. We're going to bring back, stability in your country. And that is where you start to see Oceania and Eurasia develop. George Orwell's 1984 developing in real time. Guys, listen, I did have to cut that quite short. I wanted to put this out as a live stream. I wanted to put this out in a video. This will be uploaded to YouTube, guys. All right. I wanted to get it out there how I've been talking about the United States becoming, or the United Kingdom becoming part of the United States for a long time. I then see a mass exodus to Antarctica. I really do, guys. I see that coming around about 2050. It's a long way off, but you know what? It's not that long in geographical timescales. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, look, guys, there's some difficult conversations to be had. There's some hard conversations to be had. There's lots of things that have been happening in the world. I'm going to jump over to YouTube now. I'm going to close this down on TikTok. I'm going to be over on YouTube. I'm going to get everyone's comments. I'm going to get everyone's questions. We are going to be talking about the craziness that's been happening in the United Kingdom. We're going to be talking about the laws that are being passed. We're going to be talking about the Scottish girl. You know the Scottish girl. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? We're going to be talking about the woman, you know, the woke woman who let the guy into her house. And now she's not a woman anymore. She's gone. She's finished. She's over. She's not. Oh, have I been restricted? I think I've been restricted. Have I been restricted? I think I've been restricted on TikTok. I'm still here. Whatever. I'm still going, guys. I'm still going. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump over to YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on TikTok. And I am the Real Raven 1 on X. And when I finally get my app store up and running, I get this app out, the Raven encryption app, I will be the Real Raven 1 on the App Store as well. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump over to YouTube and I will see you in the morning. I'll see you at 10, I hope. Unless loads of work comes in, I'll see you there. And we're off. We are off, ladies and gentlemen, so we can have a little bit more of an in-depth conversation about the crazy things that are just happening. Something that should... the 4 Puppeteers became a new member. Thank you so much, 4 Puppeteers, for becoming a member. I really appreciate it. I need to get more of the more members-only content on YouTube. I will work on that. But thank you so much for becoming a member. Right, guys, listen. Something's just really wound me up. It has. It just wound me up. The Cross of St. George, you're not allowed to post that on YouTube, but you're allowed to post the Palestinian flag. Does that not wind anyone up? Does that not get anyone angry? It kind of... But it's all part of subversion. And the reason why people are afraid of the Cross of St. George and people are not afraid of the Palestinian flag, because there is no Palestinian flag. Those guys are the Palestinians, they had their moment, they had their time. They're about to be, they're about to be a Riviera. They're going to be turned into a Riviera. They're gone. They're finished. They're over. They're not coming back. What scares people And what terrifies people is the cross of St. George. And this comes into what I was talking about before. Comes into what I was talking about yesterday. People are like, if you're a government, literally, guys, if you are a government, what are you afraid of? Are you going to be afraid of these like little Palestinians who are all woke with like blue hair and like, you know, have got the woke mind virus? You just tell them what to do, basically. Or are you afraid of the lion rising? Are you afraid of the Brit English? Are you afraid of the English uniting and becoming greater than the sum of their own parts? Are you afraid of like, I don't even know, let me Google, what does the Palestinian flag stand for? I don't know what the answer to this is, guys, but I can pretty much guarantee it's going to be nothing. It's going to be nothing even remotely as epic as the Cross of St. George. So the Palestinian flag represents the Palestinian people, their struggle for freedom and independence, and the state of Palestine. The colours symbolize the pan-Arab colours, with the black representing the past struggles and the Abbasid Caliphate. White symbolizing peace. There's only a tiny bit of white. White symbolizing peace, and the Umayyad Caliphate, the green signifying prosperity, and the Fatimid. The red triangle signifies the unity of the Arab people and the struggles made for liberation and self-determination. If you want me to sum that up in one word, it's gay. Absolutely gay. Now, let me give you this Cross of St. George. Let's just see what the Cross of St. George. It's actually embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. I feel like I don't feel embarrassed reading it out, but like when you talk about a side-by-side comparison with flags, so that was my that's what AI is telling me the Palestinian flag represents. So this is what AI is telling me the Cross of St. George symbolizes. So the Cross of St. George symbolizes English national identity, pride and unity, representing St. George, a Christian martyr and patron of Saint of England. It is the national flag of England, featuring a red cross on a white background, which also has Christian symbolism, representing the martyr's cross and the shed blood, the symbol adopted by King Richard the Lionheart during the Crusades, and has been used for centuries by English military, and the militaries in the Union Jack. Like, you kind of feel sorry for anyone else who has to say like, oh, this is what my flag represents. This is what my. You kind of feel sorry for anyone who has to come up against the Cross of St. George. But anyway, guys, let me jump down and get these questions and these comments. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Right. Oh, it's Debbie Doobs. Oh, so Debbie Doobs managed to do it. She managed to do it. Laurie Hill is saying disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting, guys. It is disgusting that we're not allowed to share the cross of St. George. Look, guys, it's because what the Cross of St. George symbolizes. People are terrified of it. People are terrified of it. Like, you can imagine, like, you can imagine, like, well, let's just look at those two side-by-side comparisons, guys. You know, the Palestinian flag that is allowed on YouTube now, it represents, I don't even know what, just some colors and stuff and some ridiculous stuff. And then you've got the Cross of St. George, which is Christian symbolism, representing the martyr's cross and the blood shed by the Crusaders. Richard the Lionheart used it during the Crusades. It's terrifying. It's genuinely terrifying. But it's so elemental and it's so simple and it's so easy. It terrifies people. It really does. I literally did a live stream on this yesterday, how powerful that cross is. But yes, Laurie, I agree. It's disgusting. John Giles is saying you should email YouTube and ask them to comment. I don't even know if I can email them. Lisa Jane is saying it made me angry, Sean. Yeah, it's made me angry as well. And then Debbie Doobs is sharing the cross of St. George, the powerful cross. Silly Gallardi is saying the story of that flag, it was created by Mark Sykes for the new nation state Jordan and then became the Palestinian flag. Oh, so we're talking about the Palestinian. I don't know. I don't know how the flag came around. Praise King Jesus forever is saying, First Corinthians is saying, for the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto which are saved is the power of Jehovah. I don't know what that means. But I'm sure you do, and a lot of respect to you with that as well. And Freddie is saying Starmer's being taken to court. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen some of these right-wing hooligans the other day, and I know I've said this before. I saw some of these right-wing hooligans the other day, and they're so stupid because they were saying Starmer is a banker, and he's not. He was a lawyer. Simon Jones is saying, wait until the bombs start going off in the UK. It's happening in Sweden on a daily basis. Yeah. I don't know how we've got so far along without that happening. I've said quite a lot of live streams. I believe there's a lot of contraband. There's a lot of contraband being brought over from France, which will be coming over from Ukraine. The Four Puppeteers is saying, thank you for my introduction. Don't worry about it. I was advertised to watch you from a fellow prepper. I had a British flag up last year. Someone went past and stated she didn't know how anyone could put it up. Well, listen, the Four Puppeteers, how foolish do they feel now? How foolish do they feel with the flags going up everywhere? And look, guys, I need to be quite clear. I understand what's happening in the background. I understand a lot more than most people do about ideological subversion. I understand all these things that are happening behind the scenes. But ultimately, I don't care. I don't care. I want my kids to be safe. I want to live a peaceful life. I want to, and without living in fear, guys, like honestly, like that's what it's like in the United Kingdom right now. It really does feel like people are living in fear. But the raising of the flags all over the place, guys, is letting people know that they are not alone. And let's just be clear, ladies and gentlemen, I did a live stream on it yesterday. Yesterday's live stream, people are terrified of the cross of St. George more than any other cross, more than any other flag, I believe. Carolina Ritchie is saying, oh my God, that is wild. There's no reason for the England flag to be censored. There is, because people are terrified of it. It scares people. This flag was created by a Brit. Right, I'm going to have to Google Mark Sykes flag. I'm going to have to Google this. I don't know what's happening here in the chat. Mark. Oh, so Sir Mike Sykes designed the flag of the Arab Revolt, known as the flag of Hejaz, which is a combined pan-Arab colours of green, black and white and red stripes with a red triangle on the hoist side. The design was intended for the Hashemite forces during the Arab revolt against the. There's always some Brit behind the scenes, isn't there? Like scheming, like with a little, let's make this flag to unite people. The Arab revolt against the Ottoman Empire during World War I, and later served as the basis for many modern Arab flags. So all these Arab flags are actually British flags. Is that what we're saying? Well, it clearly is, including those of Palestine, Jordan, and Iraq. Well, thank you so much for that. Every day is school day. I love learning something new. So all these Arab flags are actually British flags. Go figure. Right, guys, listen, there are so many comments. I'm having to jump down. I really am having to jump down. Sharon Owen is saying, we will have the police round later for trying to put the English flag on YouTube. Lisa Jane is saying, I'm sick of seeing the Mark Sykes flag and the din at the people who carry it, mate, with their placards. I mean, most of the people that go on these protests, they're paid stooges. They really are, guys. Like, they are paid stooges. If they understand what they were supporting and what they were representing, they wouldn't want to roll with that stuff. They'd be like, no, I'm not good for that. Coastal and countryside drones is saying 18 World War II ordnances have gone off in North Yorkshire moors fire due to World War II deposits. Firefighters are brave, right? I didn't realize that. Right, guys, let me get some breaking. Let me see if there's been any breaking news in the last. What have we been on in the last hour and 16 minutes, and then we will begin to close this down. Right, Nigel Farage. Right, we'll go on to the live updates, actually. Man who became urban myth after muscle touching ban. I don't even know what that means. Families horror at funeral. Oh, God. Ukraine shows off deadly new cruise missile. Asylum seeker. Here we are. Right, let's do some things from the UK, guys. Let's do this. So, asylum seeker. Accused of trying to kiss girl 14 denies accusations and says, I'm not a wild animal. The alleged incident involving Hadush Gerb, I can't even pronounce his name, guys. He's a black guy. Sparked protests outside the Epping Hotel. So this is one of the guys that sparked the protest, and he says he's not a wild animal. He says he's not a wild animal. He's not a wild animal, guys. Listen, I mean, I don't think we're ready. Like, you can imagine, like, I've not seen some of the real wild ones, but I can remember when I was in the military and I had some time in. I can remember when I was in the military and I spent some time in Kenya. Like, I went to some of these like little tribes, and you can imagine, like, you can imagine, like, where do I go with this? So we think things are bad now, all right? All right? You know, when these people come from these tribes who've never had electricity, these like hunter-gatherer tribes that have been like lost tribes for like thousands of years or whatever, when these guys make their way to the shores of the UK, tell me how jail is the deterrent for them. I mean, they're not going to have to hunt for their food. They're going to get heating. They're going to get a bed. They're going to have like 3 meals a day. Tell me how, like, jail is a deterrent for that, people. So I tell you what, you're going to come and you're going to get healthcare. So I tell you what, right? You're going to get these people coming from whatever part of the world that's uncivilized, all right? And you're telling them that if you give them 3 meals a day, healthcare, security, a roof over their head, and a bed, that's a deterrent. What do we think, guys? Do we think that's a deterrent for them not doing whatever they want to, like, young girls whenever they see them? What do you think? What do you think, guys? What do you think? I know what I think. I don't think it's going to be a deterrent. But then that puts a negative. But that just spreads the negativity, because you will get a rise of the far right from this. And again, I understand the different sides of this argument. I do. I understand it. That's the direction of travel we're going, guys. It is what it is. That's the way we're going. We could stop this, guys. We could stop this by stopping the boats straight away. Stop it overnight. Live updates, guys. Okay, so from America, Minneapolis. Now, there was the active. I've got to be very careful what I say, because I got a video. I got a video on YouTube. Jim Smith. Oh, yes, we've got Jim Smith. Jim Smith, thank you for your comment, Jim Smith. Jim, I hope you stay around. I do. I've seen your one comment. I don't know what the other comments are, and I'm not looking, because I'm going to give you a fair whip of the chain. But Jim Smith has said that I'm assuming I know what it means. He's saying I'm not civilized. Let's see. Let's open this smoky gun wagon and see where the wheels take us. So Jim, I'm going to pin it. Where's he gone? Jim, in capital letters, is saying you people are uncivilized. What do you mean by that, Jim? Can you give a little bit more specificity? All right. What do you mean by you people are uncivilized? What do you mean uncivilized? Like having healthcare, having laws? Or do you think like fighting over an apple tree civilized? Like, what do you mean by that? And I'm being fair. What do you mean by that? Jimmy's also trained. What if? Here we are, guys. Here we are. Why Western aggression isn't just cultural but inherited. The Iceman inheritance argues that Ice Age survival shaped traits like dominance and emotional coldness. They are always at war. So fair enough, Jim. Let me ask you another question. All right? These tribes in Africa who've never had any exposure to the outside world, are they civilized? Why haven't those tribes developed? Why haven't they developed, Jim? Why haven't those tribes developed? Why have they not evolved? If like what you're saying, white Western aggression isn't just cultural but inherited. What do you mean? Let me tell you something about what you're calling, Western aggression. White Western aggression. I will call that white Western competitivity. White Western competitivity, whereby you want to compete, you want a better standard of life for yourself. I mean, look, you can give the argument that there's a lot of people coming to this country who've got no competitivity. They're quite happy to drain off the welfare system, take what they want, because they don't really care. They just want to have a few beers and some, they just want to have a good time. White Western aggression, as you're saying it, I'm reframing that as white Western competitivity, whereby if you've got a system, a product, goods or service, you're going to compete against somebody else who's got, a similar goods, product or a service. And only the better product, only the better person will succeed. So that drives people to succeed. That drives people to excellence. That drives people to, create things like that, these tribes in Africa would never be able to think of, like the internet, MRI machines, modern medicine, those kind of things everybody wants. So tell me again, Jim, what do you mean by you people? And what do you mean, Jim, by white Western aggression? Do you mean white Western competitivity, where white people just seem to be, oh, white people are doing this, though? So what do you mean by that? Please articulate a little bit better. Right, I want Jim, right. Right, Jim, you're just saying the same thing over and over again. Please, Jim, please say something new. White Europeans are naturally territorial and aggressive. Jim, and I'm not meaning this to be like, I don't know who you are, Jim, but there are monkeys in the jungle who are territorial over apple trees. I don't know what your point is, mate. Literally, I don't know what your point is. Like, so I don't know what your point is. Are you saying that's a negative thing? I don't know. Right, where's Jim? Where's Jim? Jim is saying 171 of 193 countries invaded by Europe. I will actually say, Jim, your statistics are off. There's only 22 countries that Britain has not invaded. Forget Europe. You want to talk about numbers, we'll go with Britain. Right, Jim, I'm going for some more, Jim. Jim's saying, yeah, Jim, I've read it. I can read. Jim also is saying, have they, I don't know what you're on about, Jim. Right, Jim, slavery and colonization. Jim, I agree. There are many, you are right, Jim, 100%. There are many places in Africa who still have slaves. There are many people in the Middle East who still have slaves. Let me let you into a little secret. Britain almost bankrupted itself to get rid of the slave trade. In the civilized world, in white Western Europe, we don't have slaves anymore, Jim. What I will say is there are places in Africa, places in the Middle East that still have slaves. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, Jim. Yes, Jim, competitivity. It's a word, trust me. I'm English. I can make up words. It's my birthright. Where's Jim? Read up on your violent... Okay, Jim. You're naturally unethical. What does that mean, Jim? You're saying words in capital letters, Jim, but I don't know what they mean. Jim, I don't know what it means, Jim. I respect you, Jim, but I don't know what it means. Right, where is Jim? Where is Jim? Who? Oh, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is perfect. This is what liberals do. This is what liberals do. When they're outsmarted, right? This is what liberals do, guys. If you guys want to know what a liberal will do when they've been outsmarted and they've got nothing to say, literally, and like you can't argue with stupid people. You can't. It's impossible to argue with stupid people. And this is a perfect example here. So I've just outsmarted Jim. I've used his own arguments against him. I've given him facts. I've given him figures. And now he's saying, yeah, but who cares? Yeah, but who cares? Actually, you kind of care, Jim, because you brought the conversation up. If you didn't care, you wouldn't have brought the conversation up. So don't bring the conversation up. If you don't care, then when I outsmart you, say you don't care. It kind of makes you look silly, Jim. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, listen, like I said, I don't mind anyone coming on the live stream and trying to outsmart me, but you're going to have a hard time. You really are. I do this in real time. Jim's got a lot of time to go and Google facts and figures. I'm here doing it in real time. So, Jim, I respect you, mate, but, you know, I think I'm going to ignore you a bit. So he's saying the Germans built the Autobahn. Does that excuse the whole? What are you on about, Jim? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Victor von Braun. He built the Saturn V rocket. Does that excuse it? I don't know. What are you? Where's your argument coming, Jim? Jim, I would look. Jim, with no disrespect, mate, you're out of your depth arguing with me. I can't respond to you anymore. With all due respect, Jim, and I mean this like sincerely. You're out of your depth arguing with me. You're not intelligent enough. You're not smart enough. I don't know where you're from. I don't know your background. What you're saying, it sounds like the ramblings of a drunken liberal. Oh, now he's getting nasty. Look, now Jim's getting nasty. So I've outsmarted him. I've made him see the error of his ways. Now he's just getting angry. Now he's calling me. Now he's just getting angry. Look, well done, Jim. Right, Jim. With respect. Now Jim is saying, look, Jim's totally fine. Jim is saying that Europe has invaded 1,171 countries out of 193. Jim, I love your maths. It's like Raven maths. I get it, mate. You're angry. You're angry. You're probably gonna go out later and do something to someone. Like we all know what you're gonna probably go and do. If you don't like it here, please leave. Go back to wherever. Go back wherever you feel comfortable. Go there, mate. Like literally, go there. Are you on the benefit system? Are you claiming welfare? Like, is that why you want to stay, really? Oh, I hate all you, but you've got so much money and like good stuff. I can't leave. I'm just going to sit here. Like, where are you going with this, Jim? Like, are you, Jim? And I mean, no disrespect. I'm going to assume that this is a typo. I'm going to assume that you mean 171, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But anyway, look, right, guys, right, Jim. Jim's saying you are not educated in capital letters. Jim, I've just outsmarted you on everything that you tried to say to me. I've just given you facts and figures that your mind can't comprehend. All right. And all you've managed to do is throw racist slurs at me. Do you understand you're throwing racist slurs at me right now? You're calling me white. You're calling me white aggression. I don't know who you are, Jim. You could be Jemima. You could be, your name could be Jim. I don't know who you are, Jim. You've just got some letters. I would suspect, Jim, that I think, Jim, you're a good person. You just need to understand. You just need to understand what you're saying, because you clearly don't. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Jim's going now. Jim is going now. Jim's going. Jim, please come back when you're sober. You're going now. I'm going to block you for the rest of this live stream. Where is he? I'd like to continue with you, Jim, because it's quite funny for me, like tripping you up all the time and giving you facts and figures that you can't comprehend. And when you throw it and then you get nasty about it, I'm like, yeah, of course you're getting nasty because you don't know what to say. And then when you tell me something, Jim, so when Jim's shouting at me and he's going, oh, what about this? And then I give Jim facts. I think he was talking about slavery. And I said, yeah, okay, there's still places in Africa that still have slaves. Western civilization got rid of slavery. But Africa, the Middle East, they still have slaves openly. He's like, yeah, but who the fuck cares? I'm like, well, you care, Jim, because you was bringing it up. You can't bring something up in an argument and then when I prove you wrong, say you don't care. It's kind of not how Western civilization works. If you come up with an argument and you're proven wrong, you accept the facts, you accept the reality, you change your perception, you move and you grow and you become a stronger person. But it's fine if you want to stay in dogma, Jim. It's fine if you want to stay in dogma. Right, how do I block Jim? Jim, I mean, no disrespect, but you're going in timeout now. You are in timeout, Jim. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you can't deal. You guys, it's very difficult to argue with people who are very difficult to argue with people who are a bit, who are not smart. It really is difficult to deal with people who are not smart. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me get the rest of these comments and then I will close this down. I had to deal with Jim. I think he needs to be put in his way. I think Jim needs to put in his way. Weasel Van Diesel is saying, have a minute, Jim, look back, reflect, maybe sit in a corner for a bit with a fidget spinner. Yeah, maybe he needs a fidget spinner. I don't know. A nice fidget spinner, though, not a nasty fidget spinner. The Four Puppeteers says, I really needed this laugh. Thanks, Jim Bob. It's really difficult, guys. It's really difficult to. And you'll find this in your walks of life. It's really difficult to argue with people who are not as smart as you. It's really difficult. It is, because like the perfect example, like just there from Jim, like he was going on about facts and figures and I corrected him on them and gave him real world examples and told him what the actual case was. And then he said, yeah, but who fucking cares really? Who cares really? Like, you can't bring something up in an argument, get proven wrong, and they say who you don't care. And this is what you find with people who are not that smart. They argue with you, and when you prove them wrong, they say, "Oh, yeah, but you're a knobhead." Well, no, I'm just proving you wrong. But a smart person, somebody who's intelligent, will say, "Oh, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you letting me know that. I agree. You're right. I'll grow and I will be more intelligent." I can pretty much guarantee that Jim used to argue with the teacher. "You're not telling me what to do, sir." Anyway, guys, let me jump down. Right, guys, there's been loads of comments. I'm just gonna jump to the bottom and get the comments from the bottom. John is saying, the fact of the matter, the West gave the rest of the world, like people like, look, I don't know where Jim's from, guys. I really don't know where Jim's from. A brilliant live. Obviously, they don't appreciate it. I would look, guys. I'm not going to comment about that because I'm not going to comment about that. To me, it doesn't really matter. What matters to me is safety for my family, safety for my children, and having a future. The four puppeteers are saying, "I've met so many people in my time that are just like him." Yeah, we all do, guys. It's very difficult to argue with people like that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on that bombshell, now Jim's gone. Before he comes back, I'm gonna leave this. I've been on. What have I been on? I've been on over an hour and a half, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back on at 8 and 10 in the morning. And Jim, if you're watching, mate, I mean, no disrespect. You're throwing things out there. Your initial response to me was, calling me you people, saying you people when you are didactically wrong. If you watch my other streams, you guys know I'm all for, I don't care about the color of people's skin. I care about the culture. I care about the culture, where they've been brought up, what they represent, what they aspire to be, what they want to, how they treat their families. That's what I'm all about, guys, okay? And it doesn't really matter the color of your skin. It does not. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now on YouTube. I will be back on tomorrow at 10, I hope, unless I get loads of work in like I did the other day. But yeah, have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.